What's up, YouTube? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Welcome back, loves. If this is your first time on my channel on today, go ahead, hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. So, looky here, okay? Remy Ma is allegedly in trouble with authorities once more, and it is due to the fact that she has alleged to have been involved in a physical altercation with a former Love and Hip Hop cast member by the name of Brittany Taylor. Specifically, people are alleging that Remy Ma actually punched the girl and gave her a black eye after Brittany took to IG yesterday and uploaded a video of her like battered face, and she pretty much said some words to kind of like allude to the fact that Remy was the one who caused the black eye, right? So at this point, Remy, her situation just in general is kind of in the air because everybody knows that back in 2014 she was released from prison after serving a 6 to 7 year, don't quote me, 6 7 years, something like that, bid for shooting her former best friend in the stomach, okay, for like allegedly stealing some money from her or something like that. So she's supposed to be walking on the straight and narrow for at least 5 years. I think that's how long she was on probation. And of course, like this includes very strict guidelines. Like, you know, they have, what do you call those things? Curfews when they can go and come. You know, they're not allowed to hang around other felons. In addition to, they're not allowed to have firearms, and they're definitely not allowed to be involved in physical altercations. Now, before we get started into the video, number one, I want to say this. I used to be a huge fan of Remy Ma. And this was back in like 2007, okay? High school, I was the biggest Remy fan. I remember when she was wearing two-tone style, like hairstyles, before it was like the popping thing to do. She would have her bangs as like blonde, right? And then she would rock the rest of her hair jet black. I loved her. I loved her in Terror Squad. I mean, and actually, I had a really close friend who was from the Bronx, and she would come down to Georgia and she would put me on all the Remy Ma shit, like the underground New York shit that a lot of people down south ain't really have access to. So I have a very soft spot in my heart for Remy Ma just as an artist. I think she is immensely talented, and I feel like from a lyrical and musical perspective, she doesn't get the credit that she's due. And I don't feel like she's lived up to what maybe just me as like a former fan wanted her to live up to, right? So when she went to prison, all this time passed, right? Then Nicki Minaj came on the scene, and you know how people are with their very like fleeting attention spans, and the newest it person on the scene, everybody stands them, and then anybody else people kind of just shit on. So when Remy was released from prison, you had a brand new group of just people, hip hop listeners. I mean, I would argue like casual hip hop listeners, because if you're a hardcore rap fan, you know how Remy Ma giving it up. But a lot of people were looking at her like, bitch, who are you? I mean, I remember people saying all kinds of things about her, and like very colorist things like, oh, look at this black gorilla, especially when she dropped that Sheether diss record for Nicki Minaj. People were calling her a gorilla. You know, she could never touch the queen. People even said like she couldn't rap. And I do, I guess I acknowledge the fact, I think Remy Ma isn't a great song maker, because there's a difference. You know, you have people who are hardcore MCs, amazing lyricists, but maybe not the best song maker. An example of this, as far as a man in the rap industry goes, is Nas. Nas is an excellent lyricist. He's an excellent rapper, an excellent wordsmith, but it's kind of been popular opinion amongst hip hop heads that the nigga don't know how to pick beats. You know what I mean? And his ability to create and orchestrate an amazing like hit song has been something that's kind of hindered him And as opposed to his counterpart Jay-Z, who was definitely way more accomplished in like a mainstream kind of sense. But that's neither here nor there. Don't even get me started. But taking it back to Remy Ma, right? So she gets out of prison and she's introduced to a brand new audience of people, and she joins the cast of Love and Hip Hop New York. And after doing this, she kind of created her own, like, her own career, a new life for herself. She attracted a new fan base. But one thing that I noticed that I did not like, which was a turning point for me as far as me being a Remy Ma fan, was that given that she had kind of like jumped into this new age reality television thing, she fell into the category of the celebrities that I would personally say that should not be on reality TV. Okay. While she does have a lot of stories, like personal life stories that is great to share, that kind of made certain people connect with her, like her having a miscarriage and she and Pap trying really hard to have another child or to have their first child together, her having infertility issues, all of these things kind of made certain people connect with her. But in my opinion, I feel like, or I felt like at the time, Remy Ma had a lot of like hiccups in her personality that were just like hard for me to overlook. Like character flaws. She came off as very much a bully, aggressive, like overly aggressive. She came off as egotistical, even very fake. I specifically remember her saying, and I don't know if this was in an interview. This might have been in an interview or when she was doing like a media tour or something like that. She was saying like, whenever I'm cool with somebody, I kind of just sit back and collect dirt on them. And if they piss me off, then I'll use it against them. Like stuff like that. Or when she would fall out with certain people, I just started noticing her behavior. And I'm like, wow, like she's literally coming off as kind of a fucked up person to me. And that's officially when I just really stopped fucking with her. Like I will always respect her for her musical abilities, but outside of that, Remy Ma is pretty much trash to me. And excuse me, in typical fashion, I do feel like people reward good, bad behavior, rather negative behavior, especially in just the rap industry. We reward negative behavior, and we, celebrate people for doing fucked up shit. So naturally, she has all of this street cred for shooting somebody. And then, just over time, I just started noticing her like being propped up for doing and saying whack shit. Her joining the cast of, what is that show with Joe Budden? The Culture, the State of the Culture, the Art of the Culture, something of that nature. It's a online, basically like web series. I guess like a panel style show where they discuss hot topics and things affecting the culture. And her role on that cast was very much like pick me style of a woman. She's defending abusers and always giving like the felon perspective of things, which I guess that makes sense because she's a felon. But, her taking stances on issues that like I just feel like she's blatantly biased, and then like the issues that she attempts to defend to me are just like not defendable, like, or undefendable, if that's a word. I just made that up, whatever. But you get what I'm saying. So all in all, I'm like, wow, like she's a shitty person, but I would see people celebrating her and applauding her. So fast forward to this incident where people are speculating, right? So there is no set story or narrative here, but there are speculations that her stepdaughter, aka Papoose' daughter, got into some type of altercation, and allegedly Brittany Taylor was the one behind the altercation. And while Remy Ma was performing at some concert, Brittany came and there were words exchanged, and then ultimately leading up to the point where Remy Ma allegedly punched Brittany in the face. And everybody is attacking Brittany for going to the internet. Now, granted, I don't know much of Brittany, so it's not like I'm a Brittany fan or anything. I think she's talented as well. I've heard maybe like one or two songs from her. but she drops a lot of freestyles online and the bitch can spit. But I'm not like just invested in her as a person or her personality because I really don't know that much about her as a person or her personality. But from what I did see on Love and Hip Hop, she was a hot mess as well. She was involved in a lot of drama, this, that, and the third. However, like literally, that's neither here nor there when it comes to actions and consequences. Therefore, I don't give a fuck what type of person Brittany was or is. If Brittany did not put her hands on Remy Ma first, there was no reason for Remy Ma to have punched her, especially knowing the consequences. So I see a lot of people making excuses for Remy, saying that, oh, she had to have been provoked, and people are really just backlashing and going in on Brittany because they're like, oh, you're a snitch. And it really reminds me of why I fucking hate rap culture sometimes, because we reward negative behavior and a lot of times we attack victims. And I'm not saying that Brittany in and of herself like is a victim, but in this particular situation, she is. And I don't get with the snitch culture. Maybe it's because I'm not a street bitch. Contrary to the name of the channel, Hood Astro Queen, Hood is actually an acronym that stands for Humble Observer of the Divine. So let's not get it twisted, bitches. I am not a popcorn street eating bitch, okay? So I don't understand the codes of the streets, and maybe that's just my bias. However, sis, if you hit somebody while you're a felon on parole, carry her ass back upstate. Somebody come and book her. Book sis to the next police station, because there's no room in society for you, sis. You're clearly unstable, Mabel. All right, and a bully. All right, she just, like I said, it's too much. It's too much. And just last week we were crying, right? Everybody's taking to their platforms to cry and, oh, Nipsey, stop the violence, damn. But now, when it's convenient and it's somebody that you like perpetrating violence, it's, yeah, haha, she doesn't play. Ooh, we standing for Remy. Like, really? Really? Interesting. Like, y'all are full of shit. So now that my rant is out of the way, the objective of this video is going to be long, okay? So feel free to, start, pause if you have to, save it for later, come back to it. But in this video, we're going to be breaking down the birth charts of both Remy Ma and Brittany Taylor. And I might do a little bit of synastry towards the end, just to break down different components of their charts and to correlate it with certain behaviors. And I mean, I would say in Remy Ma's case to kind of see if she would be capable of doing something like this. But let's be real, okay? Even the people who are applauding this behavior, we all the fuck know Remy Ma is capable of doing something like this. But yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with Miss Remy. So Remy Ma was born on May 30th, 1981 in the Bronx, New York. It's something about these Bronx bitches that just really rub my spirit the wrong way. But I digress. So this makes her a Gemini Sun, Aries Moon. And literally, like the minute just looking at this Sun Moon combination alone explains a lot. And it explains a lot of those behaviors and, just like I said, character tics and quirks and flaws that I saw and see in Remy that just aggravate the shit out of me. And not to mention the fact her moon is at the 29th degree. Now, I always say, because like if I don't have the birth time, your moon placement is subject to be a few degrees off. So, I mean, in reality, it could still be in the later degrees of Aries, but not necessarily the 29th degree. But, either way it goes, it's a fucking problem. That 29 deals with crisis, it deals with upheavals and high pressure situations, which, it seems very accurate, when you take into context what the anaretic degree encompasses. But we'll get to that. As far as Remy being a Gemini Sun, her Venus is also conjoined to her Sun. So she's a Gemini Sun and Venus, so she has some pretty solid Gemini energy. And I would describe her as a dark-sided Gemini because all of these traits, which entail being a contrarian, is very much dark side Gemini. And contrarians are people who simply go against the grain just to have something else, like something different to say, which is what a lot of people say about me. But I don't consider myself as a contrarian. I don't know. Gemini is in my eighth house, so like maybe, but but whatever. We talking about Remy, okay? Remy does do this thing on the state of the culture where, like I said before, she would take a stance on certain issues, like hot topic issues, and you're like, bitch, what? And it's completely against like popular mainstream opinion. And I'm not saying mainstream opinion is always right. If y'all know me or if you've been on this channel long enough, you know like my opinions are like fuck mainstream. But for example, this lady, like when people were bringing up like the Fabulous abusing his wife Emily thing, she was like defending Fabulous, like amongst a lot of other people, but just basically saying like, oh, well, we don't know what goes on in their house. And despite there being video evidence of Fabulous chasing Emily around the fucking car, yelling and threatening her and her father, she's like, well, we don't know. They could have been in his house. And, I mean, hey, Fabulous has every right to tell somebody to get out of his house. And she takes this stance, like, despite her being a woman, she takes a stance more often than not of somebody who is like their first priority is to protect the man, which is very interesting to me because it's literally the antithesis of like, this neo-Nazi feminists that a lot of people don't like, which I mean, they can be ridiculous too, right? Women who automatically just defend women, no matter the circumstance. But Remy does the exact opposite, and she defends men, no matter the circumstance, which, if you ask me, is just arguably as like, illogical. It's like, okay, bitch, like, what is your deal? But yeah, that contrarian thing. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is a highly intellectual sign. Despite, these people may even be lacking formal education, right? Like, so a lot of Gemini sons, I mean, they don't even have to be like, oh, well, I went to school, I went to grade school, high school, college. Now I'm a scholar. These people can be self-taught and they are very intellectual. They, they need lots of stimulation mentally in order to function. And when they lack that level of stimulation, Gemini people can be very argumentative. Okay, these people can be very, like I said, contrarian, but even like fault finding, right? I mean, picky, and they could be like just straight out like playing mind games, manipulative. These are people who can say one thing and try to get you into believing something else, but then they really have a secret motive behind it. Her being a Gemini sun does represent her being an amazing rapper because there is a certain level of quick wit that I always say comes with being a rapper. And I personally find a lot of rappers have certain, like a solid amount of Gemini energy. Gemini also governs the hand. So writing, things of that nature, right? That's all Gemini. But then also, Gemini is a mutable sign, and Gemini is prone towards very unexpected and drastic spouts of violence. Okay, these people can, and once a Gemini gets violent, it's so hard to reel it back. It's like above and beyond and over the top. Lots of times it's unexpected, maybe even unwarranted to people on the outside looking in, like, wow, like, you're putting 20 on 10, sis. Like, what the fuck is this? And which, we all know she has a history of violence, but that's very much dark-sided Gemini. These people can be disloyal, okay, lack loyalty. They could be the type of people to Gemini sons, a dark-sided Gemini. Can be the type of person to switch up on family, switch up on friends. That Gemini women can be paranoid, okay? Paranoid about just primarily people, like other people, like this kind of distrust for people. A lot of dark side Geminis have this thing to where they think everybody is talking about them. They think everybody is against them. And in the event that, they figure that you're against them or you're not on their side, they can, target you. These people can bully you. They have this little weird thing. But with lots of Geminis, it can be like intellectual bullying or, like I say, playing mind games. Um, when Remy admitted to storing information about people that she's friends with, just in case, I guess she has a falling out with them so she can expose them. That was very much a dark sided Gemini thing, right? Like I said, taking it back to you never really know who's out to get you kind of thing. So let me hoard this information. Geminis can, because they talk so much, dark side, even the lighter side Geminis can be known to be like talkative and just, running their mouths a lot. So in the process, they can be loose lipped about their secrets and other people's secrets, exposing people, sharing information that other people didn't want to be shared. So, doing exposés on other people, just because you don't like them anymore because y'all had a falling out. It's very much a dark sided Gemini trait, period. And I'm like, oh, wow. So seeing that she's a Gemini, Sun and Venus makes a lot of sense. Also, dark sided Gemini women have this tendency to be argumentative, okay? And this is just due to their a constant need for their minds to be stimulated. So if they grow bored, they will pick fights. They will pick dark sided Gemini women are known to pick fights just for fun, just for the fuck of it. And meanwhile, the other person is so worked up, so upset, so, like just emotionally invested. And they're like just sitting back, like, yeah, this is just a normal Monday. Like, what's for lunch? You know what I'm saying? Which, it makes them, wow, it makes them, they can be very deviant, very devious. Um, Dark side Gemini women can be overly logical. Okay, these women can lack a lot of emotions. They can do some of the most cruel, evil-hearted shit and like have no emotional attachment or no remorse about it because it's that Mercury energy is very much, like I said, all in the mind, all logical, and they can find ways to rationalize anything. Okay, and just not really be in a sense of like deep in their emotions. You know what I mean? These women can be immoral, dark-sided Geminis. They can be immature. They can, like I said, lie even without recourse, lie blatantly. Um, Dark-sided Gemini women can even talk out of both sides of their mouths, which I noticed for Remy is particularly true because on one hand, she's preaching about how people need to stay out of the jail system, but then on another hand, she's like any chance she gets to like support that about that life energy signature, she does that. Also, side note, taking it back to that being fake, two-faced kind of thing. I noticed this was I don't know maybe like a year ago. Cardi B's account got hacked, right? And everybody knows that Remy and Cardi B were friends or at least cordial, especially leading up to Cardi B being who she is now. Like before she was the Cardi B, she was just a chick from the Bronx, and Remy definitely co-signed her in the beginning. And Cardi B at some point had her Twitter account hacked, and her Twitter account said something like "fuck Remy" or whatever. Instead of calling Cardi, and y'all know I don't like Cardi, but I have to just be straight up about this. Instead of calling Cardi to be like, okay, this is weird, especially if it's not in character with the relationship that y'all had and nothing happened. Instead of calling Cardi to see what was going on, Remy's dumbass took the bait, right? She took the bait, and I'm assuming she believed that this was actually Cardi tweeting from her account. And she was like, yeah, you stripper, you slut ass stripper, thoughts, shut the fuck up. Like, I mean, literally, like, throwing, like, and all of the things that Cardi swear up and down the world is judging her for, that Cardi seems to have, like, a really soft spot about. Remy was, like, throwing that shit back at her, right? And then when it came out that, like, oh, this is not real, Cardi's account was hacked, Remy was looking dumb as fuck. And people were looking at Remy like, like, so you really meant this or not? That's very much Gemini energy, that dark sided Gemini. Like, always having a rebuttal. And a lot of times, these dark sided Gemini women have, like, they engage in like frenemy kind of behaviors. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can hate somebody or not really care for somebody. And the minute they give you an iota of a reason, you don't even have to see it all the way through. You jump with something to say, right? You're throwing people's weak spots back in their face. You're jumping to make irrational decisions without thinking things all the way through, right? Spur of the moment. Just, like, gross. So, yes. Also, dark side Gemini women do tend to have severe, like, eye makeup. They overdo it, right? When it comes to the eye makeup, because there's something about the eyes. Gemini women tend to have very prominent eyes, and when doing makeup, they tend to, like, I guess try to, like, accentuate the eyes, but a lot of them just go overboard, and then their eyes looking real weird. And Remy Ma has that going on. I don't know if she kind of changed her makeup artist recently, but there was a very long time where her makeup was looking very much homely, homemade in the eyes, like she was just doing the most. Absolutely the most. Gemini, dark sided Gemini women are also hyper masculine. Gemini, I mean, like, Remy sounds like a man. She acts like a man. I don't think she looks like a man, but I'm even thinking, like I said, 2006 Remy, from when I was first introduced to her. She had a very manly persona. A lot of that is also due to her Aries moon as well, but it's just a double dose of that masculine energy. Okay, and as a result, these women can even get with men, or they would be best suited with men that they can kind of like bitch out, if that makes sense. Take from that what you will. Okay, Pat. So yeah, that's pretty much that on the Gemini Sun. I'm trying to make sure I didn't skip anything on my notes. So that's pretty much that. So that explained a lot of her behavior also. And then with her being an Aries moon, like I said, that 29th degree does deal with high pressure situations. Aries also governs weaponry, okay? AKA guns. AKA what the fuck this bitch went to jail for, okay? Getting caught up in the legal system after shooting a bitch with a gun. So, which is why I said that, her moon being in the 29th degree definitely is fitting. It's fitting. But, Aries moon could produce somebody who is immature as well, like emotionally immature. Somebody who goes through high pressure situations involving, like I said, weapons, but also their temperament. Okay, these people can be very impulsive, very much conflict seeking. These type of women can, have no qualms about, like I said, stabbing you, cutting you, shooting you, and then even like laugh about it. You know what I'm saying? Very little remorse, very little accountability for the things that they do. That's also some Gemini, of that Gemini energy signature, but she just has it bad with this combination. Also, Aries moon can create, like I said, that masculine, mannish kind of behavior, especially in a woman. Okay, it can make for a mother who is very aggressive with their children. So I wouldn't even be surprised if Remy Ma is the type to like fight her kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, square up, little nigga. Like, you made me mad. Like, what's up? Like, when they're teenagers, or that wouldn't surprise me either. Also, these are that whole thing of jumping to conclusions, as Aries is impulsive. That can be attributed to Remy's Aries moon. These women can, like I said, because they're so masculine and mannish, they can often be seen as one of the boys, and they can often have way more male friends than they do female friends. And this is definitely true for Remy Ma. When she first came out, she was the only lady in Terror Squad, which was, I think, Big Pun originally created it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or they rolled with Big Pun, but it was like Fat Joe and a whole bunch of other niggas. And Remy Ma was literally the only female. Okay. And even to this day, like I don't really too much know of Remy Ma being around a lot of women, and when she is around women, that shit is it goes left. Okay, Rod, what was her name? Rod Ali was the only chick that I've ever seen Remy Ma just hang around, and that shit went left. I mean, not to mention homegirl that she shot too. So, but that's very much that dark side of Aries energy too. A lot of these women tend to not really do that well with other women, and because they're so masculine, a lot of dark side of Aries women. This applies to Aries Sun women as well. When they try to be sexy, right? When they try to be sexual and sexy and like tap into their femininity, that shit looks forced. It don't, it's not. It's like, it's a little weird. And for me, in my opinion, I kind of get the same thing with Remy. Like whenever I see her trying to get into her, like I'm a bad bitch kind of bag, like sexy, it gets a little weird. Also, Aries moon or dark sided Aries is women anyway are very much known for being jealous. These women can be downright haters, which makes me feel like maybe not in this Brittany Taylor situation, but definitely as it pertains to Cardi. You can't tell me Remy Ma is not jealous of her. Okay, you can't. You can't. Aries is all about competition. Okay, Aries is the sign of competing. It's very much me first energy. A lot of these people want to win at all costs, and when they can't, they either break the rules to win, or there's nothing they can really do about it. It just festers in their spirit, all right, and they can be some big time haters, and especially with her moon being in Aries, because the moon could represent the career or like your reputation, but then it can also represent femininity, right? So this could even or represent her being jealous of other women whom she feels like these women, might have something that she wants. So I thought that was very interesting. Also, these women have a hard time keeping lots of female friends. I think I made that point, and they can be bullies, like just unapologetically bullies, which is what I said initially. Was something that I kind of noticed about her. She's very much a bully. Yeah, and have very quick tempers and dark sided Aries. Women also are very bad with makeup too. So, it just really explains a lot. Like I said, that sun moon combination, I really wanted to expound on that as much as possible because it really explains a lot about Remy Ma. Like, she's the epitome of Aries and Gemini energy. Very much a hothead, can be very much, just all over the place. Yeah, so there's that. And now that I'm actually like in the thick of it, I didn't realize I was going to be expounding on each planetary, placement or aspect that much. So with that being said, I think I am going to make this a series. I don't know how many parts, but I'm going to cut this video off here, and then in my next video I'm going to get into the remainder of Remy's chart, and then maybe in the next series after that I'll introduce the aspect of Brittany Taylor and their synastry together. Okay, so with that being said, y'all be sure to drop down in the comment section, do y'all know any dark side Geminis or any dark sided Aries? Okay, these ultimate gossip queens, hothead problematic queens are something else. Okay, they're something else. So make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others, and until next time,